I'm
All
getting
right,
Skype notifications. We're on.
we're on.
Hello, Henry.
Good morning. Good morning. Bright and early on a Monday.
It is. For those of you watching, I'm Jennifer Cotis. I am a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Integrity Lakes, and you are?
I am Henry Poling, and I am also a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Integrity Lakes.
And together we are with the Katie Bean and Company team, where we have a group of agents that work together and collaborate at no cost to our clients.
Yes. The cost of one or the cost of none when you're buying.
Right. Okay, so today we talked about topics, but we feel like the most important one is market update. So I think that you had some really good feedback, as well as our company, Keller Williams Integrity, had a really great meeting on, what was that, Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Will you share some of that information?
Yeah, for sure. So the office did a great buyer panel, which was basically, I think it was 6 or 7 agents all sat down and just talked about what they've been seeing in the market, their own market update, and some stats for throwing out and everything else. The ones that kind of big takeaways I had were, well, first is in this market as a buyer, it's how do you stay competitive, right? But also stay within your means. And it was important to note, I believe the stat was that it was either 75 or 78% of offers are either cash or conventional. The majority being conventional. I think maybe 15% were cash, somewhere in that range. But when you look at that, if you are an FHA buyer, or if you're using one of the federally backed programs, which are perfectly fine as well, I believe you and Katie talked about that a few weeks ago, but what else can you do to stand out, to stand apart, right? And we were talking about these appraisal gap guarantees that have been kind of a new thing. Not a new thing, but they've taken off here in the past few months with how competitive things are, how far over asking price buyers are going. They're starting to say that, listen, if the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price, we will cover the difference. The entire difference, or the difference up to $5,000, $10,000, whatever they have. And then as well, I think inspections are a big one too, right? And the last stat that I heard was that 30% of offers are being written without inspection. I've also heard 35, so somewhere in there. But if that's something that as a buyer you're not comfortable doing, because we recommend you get it, all good realtors recommend you get inspections, how else can we keep you competitive, right? And so the office did a really good job of just talking about what they've been doing, the success they've been having. And obviously we've been doing some very similar things and some things of our own, pass fail inspections, other items like that, to keep our buyers comfortable, confident in the market, but also give them a chance, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like skipping the inspection and paying for an appraisal gap, to me, it's like double spending, right? Like if you know you're gonna buy it no matter what, where do you want to spend the money? Do you want to spend the money fixing the place up no matter what, or do you want to spend your money getting the home no matter what? I feel like
one or the other.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be both, but it can be.
Yeah, it can be.
I also feel like fair housing, and I've mentioned this before, fair housing is hurting us.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't really plead for the people that are, need down payment assistance, that are, and I could get into it all day, but I try to educate my sellers on the different types of buyers out there, and that there is protected classes that we can't ask, but the one thing we can is we can say that an investor is not a protected class.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they are interested in helping their community, they can absolutely take a look at those other offers, those FHA, those down payment assistance, those families that are getting a leg up, and so I can try to plead as a listing agent, not only for the community, but also for the heart and the humanity of my seller.
Absolutely. Another big thing, you're talking about these assistance programs that a lot of sellers and agents have misconceptions of, that in their eyes immediately takes that offer to the bottom of the list when you're up against conventional offers, other stuff like that. A big piece of getting over that myth is having the lender call the listing agent and talk to them about the program that is on the pre-approval that these buyers are going to go through, and that it's a solid program. Here's the guidelines. They're fully through underwriting. It's going to be a smooth transaction. We're not going to run into, any big hurdles, or, these misconceptions that we've been seeing maybe aren't true. Here's why. And I think it goes a really long ways for an agent to hear it from a lender, the financing professional, and not just another agent who they feel like might just be trying to say anything to get their buyer a house.
Right. Well, and we talked about having this like reserve of money, and where do you allocate it, right? Do you allocate it for the repairs if you're going to forego an inspection? Do you allocate that money to, so maybe it's down payment assistance, but it's down payment assistance to cover closing costs just in case they have to bring more money to the table for, like, say, an appraisal gap or repairs that because of the inspection, or, and also home prices are rising really fast. So I'm going to share my screen, you guys, so we can take a look at something that we as real estate agents have privy to and have developed called InfoSparks. And we can take a look here. And so I was just playing with it a little bit here. You can see, you can see Brooklyn Park. I have a potential listing up there, and I was just looking at it. Now, his neighborhood, we can actually like get down into a neighborhood and do this, but this is just like a general overview. So we can look at like Brooklyn Park, and we can break it out to all different prices. But the biggest thing is like sale price here. So you can look, like last year, we're kind of skipping. It's kind of an anomaly. But even over 2019, that's $50,000 difference. So what you qualify for might not be in the condition that you want it to be, depending upon the area that you choose to live.
Yep. Especially with interest rates spiking just a little bit in the past couple months, buying power is decreasing slightly, but still really low and really solid rate. I mean, compared to what, if you're putting that all in cash, where you're taking it out of whatever is making there. So yeah, I mean, prices are rising, but that's kind of, you see that trend throughout, right? Everything's kind of on the rise right now. And historically, things go up over time, right? Inflation, appreciation, everything else.
Yeah, and actually a viewer had said, tell me that the price of lumber is coming down. So my friend Rod is looking to build a house, and he's like, I can't even afford it in the area that I was going to.
We hope it does, and lumber will come down at some point, but we don't have a crystal ball to tell you when, unfortunately.
No. So, but to get back to this InfoSparks here. So I bought my house in my very first one in 2004. So like 15 years ago, essentially. No, 2005, 15 years ago. And the interest rates were higher. They were like 8% when I bought, but home prices were actually $100,000 less. So actually your payment today, like on the same property, is the exact same.
Yep.
Because it's total wash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots of things to factor in when you're looking. It's not just home prices, right? I mean, the big thing for people is and should be, what are you paying monthly? Because that's how you're getting your income, most people. And so what does your monthly payment look like, more so than what's the price you're paying for a home?
Right. And now let's look at this. So original list price. Percentage of original list price. This is what I was looking at before when we jumped up. So even in 2019, we have seen, they talk about seller paid closing costs. And we used to be able to ask for them. In this market, it's like the first ones that ask for closing costs, like you said, go to the bottom of the pile.
Yep.
Yeah. And then these ones are adding gravy onto their offer at 102.5%. So that's where maybe the appraisal gaps are coming in
Mhm.
as well. And what the appraisal gaps and people that are willing to pay that. I'm gonna stop sharing. Um, what they're doing is they're just causing the home prices to increase even faster. They're setting a precedence for the neighborhood when you do.
Well, and the buyers who are offering ridiculous amounts over ours. So I've had buyers, I think I've had maybe 4 or 5 do it now, after seeing what the market's been doing. And knock on wood, every home's appraised so far. Now, at some point, it may not. But I think the big thing is, and what we do for our clients before they make an offer is we're running the numbers on the neighborhood to show them what else has been selling. And we're recommending our price based on that. So although they're promising to cover a low appraisal if it comes in, they're also offering a price that is in accordance or in line with what's been selling in the neighborhood. So in theory, the appraisal shouldn't be an issue. Now I know there are some buyers from our listings and from other stories who maybe aren't looking at that data before making offers and just offering what they think it's going to take, 50 over asking without looking at what's been selling in the neighborhood. Those are the ones who run into issues with the appraisals and the ones who are setting the precedent of when they cover that gap, now that home's going to show a 50,000 over asking price sales price when maybe really it should have been more like 20. So those are the ones who are kind of driving prices up even more so than what we've been naturally seeing. And we'll see what the long-term effects of that are. But it's important right now to be, when you're in the buying market, to be coupled with agents and lenders who are able to have a pulse on the market and are able to help you stay competitive, but not go above and beyond, right?
Yeah, and the same thing goes with listing properties. So like when I list a property in this kind of market, what we've been doing for a few years is pricing it just at that sweet spot. So you get those people that like bid up and up and up, like the auction effect. And I've been seeing that in neighborhoods where I have to tell my clients, they're sending me messages like, why is it priced so low? And I was like, wow, let me just tell you.
Yeah.
They're like, clearly this is not priced right. Even my clients can tell when something like that is happening. So, I try to be mindful with my buyers and to educate them on this strategy as well. So sometimes if a price seems too good to be true in a market like now, it probably is.
Yep. And then, I mean, the funny thing at the end of the day too is when buyers are resilient and persistent and they stick it out, they wind up getting a home, right? 99 times out of 100. It's taking longer right now than what we're used to coaching our clients through. I mean, I think my average offer now per buyer is around 7, somewhere in there. So that's up from the 4 or 5 that I was seeing before, but they're still getting homes, right? And as long as they stick to their guns and stay with what they're comfortable doing, it's going to stick. It's just going to take a little longer. I have a buyer this morning who toured a property Friday. We went back to the listing agent last night and they didn't have any offers on a beautiful property, appropriately priced. I don't have an explanation for you, but they have a full price offer out that's likely to get accepted, right? Full asking price. So they're not going 20 over with these crazy things. Things slip through the cracks sometimes, and if you just stay persistent and on top of it, it's going to work out.
Yeah, there's it seems, I feel like just in this past week or two that there has been more inventory on the market. I know my phone has been ringing for listings. I've done a couple listing presentations over the last week with some people that are interested in moving and selling, and that's what we need. We need more sellers because it's a catch-22, right? Like if you don't have the listings, we don't have the buyers. Like you got to get rid of some to make room for the others. So I'm going to just share this little market stat that came out. Oh, I'm going to have to do it twice. Please excuse me. There was something that came out the beginning of last week from the Minneapolis area of realtors, and it's the stats deck, buyer, seller, and showing activity through April 25th. So there'll be a new one out. It usually comes out a little later, but Yeah, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. On this free monthly presentation. This David Arbit, I love to talk to him. He is my favorite nerd. He's like the head economics and research guy at MAR. And it's funny to talk to him because he tries to like speculate on how we do our jobs. And it's kind of funny. Like, yeah, you're clearly just like a number. A number.
They're just numbers. He's not in the actual market, but he is very knowledgeable with the numbers and very good at explaining, taking complex data and breaking it down to layman's terms and what does this actually mean.
Yeah, for example, one of my favorite things that he likes to talk about, and I can just post this for you guys. I'm not going to actually read it to you. But one of the great things that he talked about a few weeks ago was how everybody seemed to think that there was like this mass exodus from the Minneapolis area due to social unrest, and the recent crimes and the stigma that Minneapolis has. And I see it a lot on Facebook. I see it a lot in chat rooms where I post a lot of our listings and stuff. I see a lot of the internet trolls that are quick to respond to our listings. And it's not true, actually. We're actually growing. We've actually grown quite a bit because we still have a recoverable economy. We still have COVID actionable area. Well, we have a governor who's very much involved socially in the presence on the ground. And so we have an area that's growing, and that's also what's driving the prices up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember at the end of last year, I think maybe it was David put the data out, but just in Minneapolis alone, the inventory was up 35%, which you would expect, right? That's the stigma of the mass exodus. But number of home sales was up 46%. Yes, there's a few more listings out there, but there's even more homes which means that there's even more buyers in that market still. So
yeah,
maybe there's a few people leaving. There's the internet trolls. You see that there's people leaving, no doubt, but there's also an equal amount or greater number of people coming in. So,
and we're seeing a lot of homes also being sold without using the MLS. There's a couple companies in town that have been kind of profiting on not putting homes on the MLS and just selling things, in what they call a shadow market. And we've talked about it. We know about it. And, I know I've sold some off market before. And we don't have those numbers as well. So we don't actually know 100% about the whole market activity. We just have what's come through our MLS data.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I don't want to take up too much time. It's already 18 minutes. We could talk about this all day long. You guys check out the links. If you have more questions, you can give me or Henry a call. Henry, what's your phone number?
Should I just put it? Can I put it in the chat here? No, I
can't.
Okay, my number is 612-578-3893.
There it is. And I'm Jennifer Cotis. Telephone number 763-607-3226. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.